All right, Mike Morelli here with Mason. Mason, what's up, brother? And stoked to have you on.
Yeah, thanks for taking the time to talk,
Cool.
Coach.
Cool, man. Can you just give us a little intro? Like, what's your name? Where are you right now, and what are you about?
Ooh, what am I about? Yeah. Um, Mason, Mason Hill. Um, I'm in Vermont, and right now I'm working as a wilderness therapy field guide. And yeah, I mean, I guess what I'm about is I just love being outside. Like that's kind of my across all spectrums uh passion. um and then been lucky enough to like do a fair amount of work outside, and still have yet to go for the office job, but I think I'm about to zero in on that soon too.
Yeah, very cool. Um, me and you, over the last couple of years, we connected. We were out in Jackson Hole together, skiing in the Tetons. Just like before we kind of jump into this interview and talk more about like really the growth that you've had, what is really some of like the big passions that you revolve around in the outdoors, and like why is that something that you're so passionate about?
Yeah, I mean, I guess yeah, how I initially met you is definitely skiing through Wes, of like yeah, the roommate shuffle. But yeah, I mean, in Jackson, it's just kind of always about like there's always someone doing the next like craziest, most extreme, raddest thing. And so yeah, like for me, like I got into a bunch of new hobbies like fly fishing, hiking, backpacking, combining all three of those because multi-sport days, I guess, are like the tricky thing. Yeah, skiing, sailing. I think those are like my big ones. But yeah, growing up, played basketball. That was my favorite sport. Um, yeah, still try to play basketball. When my knees are feeling good, I run, try to bike, trying to get more into swimming now. Um, yeah, just trying to dabble in the different things.
Yeah, I feel you. Just a quick question too is like what about the outdoors really draws you to do those specific types of activities?
Um, I mean, so yeah, I guess like backstory on that is I kind of came to the realization for how I got involved with like wilderness therapy is like that's always my been my like go-to grounding healthiest activity like setting, I guess, not just one activity, but like for me my mental health always gets the biggest like reset when I'm outside. And so yeah, that's like any type of like flow state activity too, you know?
Yeah.
Like I don't know if you felt that way about climbing when you were doing more climbing.
Mm.
But yeah, like skiing, um, sailing at times, like when I'm sailing by myself, like that's all I'm thinking about. Um, any type of yeah, running, basketball for sure. Um, yeah, the flow state things, like fly fishing even though fly fishing's not all that much like
Sure.
active movement. Yeah, but yeah, the flow state stuff.
Very cool. Yeah, no, I 100%, right? Like just being in the present moment and feeling like connected. So like when you were in Jackson and you wound up like transitioning back to Vermont, can you explain just really like kind of what was happening during that time of your life and how ultimately like we got connected
Yeah. Um,
or reconnected is probably the better word.
right. I mean, it's funny how we were kind of both leaving at the same time. I think initially kind of showed up at about the same time too.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, I mean, I think the last time before we had reconnected that I had seen you was we were skiing a little bit at the resort. I think one of the winters that, you were kind of like transitioning more into the park, and I wasn't quite ready for that yet. But I remember like the last time I skied with you, I think we did a couple Gandhi laps, and it was a powder day, of course, because
Yep.
there's fucking Jackson.
Yep.
Uh, but yeah, I think how we got like reconnected was we were both kind of packing up. Um, happened to be like walking down the street and saw you at Persephone
Hmm.
with I think your partner at the time,
Hmm.
and saw you a few days later, I think, and we were both kind of packing up. I had about 2 weeks to decide if I was going to re-sign my lease or move, and I'm the decision was kind of made for me. I lost both my jobs
Hmm.
with one more week in the season to go for ski school and then my restaurant job. And the restaurant like immediately was very creative about like how are we going to stay open? How are we going to keep doing business? But yeah, I didn't want to be in a touristy like place for a global pandemic. So I was like, I'm getting out of here. That's
Yep.
pretty much how it went. But then yeah, I'd say like how we really got reconnected in this way was yeah, I like got back to Vermont and like just felt stuck. Like didn't really know like what I was doing. So saw that you'd been posting, had kind of been like following what you were posting for a bit, and then yeah, I guess reached this like breaking point or like desire for change point, and then reached out to you, and we, I guess yeah, took it from there.
Awesome. And yeah, before we kind of jump into that, what that transition has been like for you, I'd love to just first ask a question. I think it would be valuable just for anyone here listening is like when you were saying, okay, I felt like I was stuck. Like, what was that like for you?
Uh, yeah, I mean it was super tough because I feel like I'd never really felt that like that same way like before, so I didn't really. I mean, yeah, because I didn't think I had felt that way before. I didn't know what to do. Um, just like career wise, wasn't getting like the fulfillment that I was looking for. And it was also, like with the pandemic, it was a hard time to be looking for work in a lot of places, but Vermont was like no exception. And yeah, I mean, like when I first got back, I moved in with my dad and stepmom for a little bit, and um, that was great. Like feel very lucky that I had a place to go, but like it was humbling. I didn't really want to move back in with my parents or my dad and stepmom at least. Yeah, and so yeah, I just like realized that like needed to start doing something differently.
Yeah, got it. Um, got it. And yeah, you had this like desire for change is what you kind of noted just a few minutes ago. And, like have things changed for you since like you started taking action?
Yeah, totally.
Like what's been going on?
Um, I mean, so I think on our very first call, uh, you know, I think one of the big things that I was kind of highlighting was like this like inertia I had around like grad school and just like constantly getting overwhelmed in this like bad cycle of like what do I really want to do? Like what program like help gets me there? And then like starting to look at the applications and then just like never really making any progress. Um, just started the online course this morning because I came out of the field and it had started 2 days ago.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, like I'm psyched on doing this course. Like I'm back in school finally, uh, and then also still doing your course.
Yeah. Um, And so like, you were kind of at this point, kind of cycling back. You're like, all right, I was stuck. I didn't really know what to do. I was feeling overwhelmed. I had all these different options. And now
Yeah.
you're back, you're on the course, you're feeling, what is it, more like aligned, like you're feeling clear about the path forward? Like, what does that look like?
Yeah. I mean, like I'd say like kind of across the board, just things are going better for me. Like I'm getting back to like the physical, shape that I want to be in. Just get better care of myself. Um, like yeah, I'm healthier for sure. Like and like kind of yeah across the board. Like I'm eating better food. I'm exercising consistently, meditating more consistently.
Hmm.
Uh, have a better like work life balance. Um, relationship, my significant other's good. Um, even like the relationship with like my stepmom has like started to change, which has been a really tough one for me out of the gate at least. And and yeah, like I think the biggest like testament I could give to you guys program is that granted the person knew I was in the program, but from a third party, removed, they told me that they had observed like a pretty fundamental change like within me and like how I was showing up and like what I was doing. And um yeah, I think that's like the best thing I could say about the program. Like I don't know if I could give a better like testimonial than that. Like if someone else can point it out, then it's like, all right, well,
Wow.
something's happening.
Yeah, no, that's wow, that's really powerful to hear that. So someone had essentially observed that you were showing up really as someone who was more just like grounded, like had made growth, and they were like, "Hey, Mason, like what, like kind of like what's going on here?" Or like, "Hey, I've been noticing that like like things are happening for you." Like what was that? What was that feeling like actually when they said that?
um it was pretty gratifying. Like it's nice knowing that there is something happening, and like that there like there's like some progress going on,
Yep.
and that if someone else can point it out instead of me just kind of wondering, I think that's like reaffirming. And yeah, it feels good.
And that's the one thing about you, Mason. We were never like super close friends when we were out in Jackson, right? We were always like kind of like friends. We talk, interact, maybe ski every once in a while. But the one
Right.
thing I've always admired about you is that you are an incredibly humble person. And I think that one thing I will just quickly note is that with a lot of like high performing, adventurous men who want to be the best versions of themselves and kind of leave an impact on the world, I think sometimes we don't give ourselves enough credit, right? Like
Yeah.
it's a natural thing amongst kind of leaders, and um, yeah, I just think sometimes it's must be an incredible feeling just to have kind of people notice every once in a while and support that journey. It's huge. So yeah, just wanted to kind of put in a little note there, and good on you, man.
Yeah. Thanks.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Yeah. If there was a piece of advice that you could give out to other adventurous men that were kind of in your shoes where they were at, if they were in your shoes where you were at a couple months ago, what would you say? What's a piece of advice that you would give?
Um yeah, I mean, I think I think for me the big thing is just like if you're at that point for a desire for change, which is a point we try to get our students to in the wilderness therapy, um, and like any kind of like jumping off point, I guess with anything, like if you're ready to go for it and ready to make this change, that yeah, like at some point you just gotta you got to go for it. You got to like take the leap, and if it works out, like awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And if it doesn't, then it's just on to the next thing. I feel like that's how I get bogged down in terms of like making some decisions, can overanalyze stuff forever, but at some point you just got to start trying things and like see what sticks.
Totally. What would you say is like the biggest thing that you've potentially learned about yourself or about life in the last 3 months, or really even the question could be like learn about like what you're capable of in the last couple months? What would you say?
I feel like just the framing of like how you and Scott kind of outlined things of like don't put yourself in a box is kind of like how I like perceive it, at least, I feel like I had myself in like some boxes, like instead of thinking of things being like like disciplinary, it's like no, like like I was like confining myself to like this is what I'm gonna do, and like there's no other way. Um, but yeah, like that's never really been like who I am as a person. I have like a pretty like broad like group of interests, and want to like see the connections within those. And like I think, yeah, for me, like for my work life, like I want to change to like a point where it's like I always want to keep doing new things, and like keep learning and like keep changing it up, um, within sustainability, within renewable energy. And I'm not working with that yet, but that's like where I'd like to be going. Um, so yeah, but I guess, yeah, sorry, to get back to your question though, like I don't know. I can't like pinpoint the one thing that like stuck with me the most. I know I talked to you though about the Amory Lovins quote that really stuck with me. I'd say that's my favorite quote, the most adaptable to change one.
Yeah, I'm so glad you love that. I really am, and I'm to be honest with you, man, I'm not surprised that that quote is really powerful to you. And to anyone that listens to this, the quote is, in nature, life, and business, the rules of the game are always changing. What works for you at one stage in life may not work for you in others. And then he says that, and yeah, then he goes on to say essentially like in nature, life, and business, um, the ones that survive are the ones that are the most adaptable to change. It's not the strongest, it's not the smartest that survive. It's the ones that are the most adaptable to change. And it's really powerful when you put that in context of personal development, because human beings, we should be constantly evolving ourselves to different versions, right? And it kind of cycles back to the label, to the box thing, where we don't do that because we've labeled ourselves as a certain way, that I am this way, I am Mike Morelli, I am this, I am that. And that keeps us confined, right? Ultimately.
Yeah, totally.
Awesome. No, that's great. And a question that I have for you, man, is, as you continue to evolve, like what are some of the things that we can look forward to you accomplishing or working towards in the next few months?
Just saw a hawk.
This is so adventure based.
It was a real hawk, I swear.
No, we believe it.
Next few months, yeah, I mean, I'm trying to. Well, so the course I just started lasts 2 months. So with any luck, I will have gotten the grade necessary to get the credits, which I plan on doing. I'm not gonna do this for nothing. And then yeah, I'm actually still kind of waiting on the dominoes to to fall for moving in with my buddy in Burlington. Good friend, bought a house. Perfect time because now Burlington's, it's impossible to find housing, but gonna move in with him. Like, yeah, my best buddy that like, we've never lived together. So gonna go for it. I think it'd be the last time I want to have a roommate. Whether or not that's the case is remains to be seen, obviously.
Sure.
And then like my hope in the next 2 to 3 months is that I like secure a job within like renewable energy development, but that's my optimistic timeline. My realistic one's like within the next 6 months.
Cool.
Yeah.
And one quick note that I don't think that we talked about here is that you got promoted to a leadership position in the last few months. With your current job right now with Wilderness Therapy, you got promoted to a leadership position, correct?
Yeah. A lead guide position. Yeah.
Yeah. And what's that been like for you, like stepping up to that challenge?
Well, this past shift was my first lead shift.
Yeah.
Yeah. So small sample size. It was great. I wanted that like pressure, or like I took it as pressure.
Sure.
And like wanted that responsibility, and felt like I'd been ready for it for quite a while, but it was just whether or not the position was open for like if they needed new lead guides, which they didn't. They needed more lead female guides than male guides always for the company. But I think it really benefited me to wait, honestly. Like one of the best evaluations I got from a lead female guide was, you should try to stay a co-guide for as long as possible. You're going to learn so much more, and your first lead shift's going to go just that much better because you've taken the time to like really get into this and learn.
Mm-hmm.
Is you learn constantly, like each shift. So yeah, it's been really good. But yeah, I'm very tired. I kick my butt.
Awesome. Good for you, man. It's I'm stoked to hear that just things are going right, and I think rather than hear it from me, but I'll just kind of say is like, it's so interesting when we feel stuck, when we feel like, oh my God, I've plateaued. I don't know what to do. Maybe I don't even know who I am or what I want. And then we invest in ourselves and we make a few internal shifts, how the things in our external world start to materialize. Would you say that's kind of what happened for you?
Yeah, for sure.
Cool. Kind of really a final question before we wrap this one up, man. I'd love to know, do you feel like you've gotten your return on investment so far since you've joined Peak Prosper?
Yeah. Yeah, without a doubt.
Cool.
It's been, I think that's kind of, to be transparent about it. I think that was the last kind of thing that was like my main like consideration before signing up.
Yep.
Um,
was the question of, am I going to get my return on investment?
Well, yeah, that, or just like, I always have kind of gotten in my own way of thinking like an investment in myself, like it's weird because it's like naturally that's like, well, like what other, like what do I think is better to invest in than investing in yourself? Like,
yeah,
right.
Totally.
But I can come up with a list and convince myself that all those things would be better.
Yeah.
And I think you helped me see that. I kind of like to get in my own way with that though. Same with this course that I'm doing. Yeah. It's it was the last big thing for me of like figuring out, okay, well, like, is this the right time to be doing this? Um, but yeah, I mean, like the answer is like pretty clear. Like, yes, like I'm stuck. Like this is not going well. I I wouldn't say it was absolute rock bottom because I've definitely been lower, hit more of a rock bottom than um than I was when I started the program. But yeah, I think knowing too that you know I had that baseline trust like with you of like you said, we've never like super close, but like I trusted you.
Yeah.
Like I've never had any reason not to trust you. And I think kind of as we've talked about, there's a lot of like coaches who would like put just a whole bunch of junk out, and I knew if I did a program with you, it wouldn't be junk.
I appreciate that, man. I appreciate that a lot. We're insanely committed to results. That's it. Like, just sitting here on this conversation right now and even hearing some of the results that you've gotten in a few months. And I promise to anyone that listens to this is not a get rich quick scheme. You're not going to get life-changing results in a week. That's not the way life works. Anything good comes from long-term compound interest. So, yeah, will things shift for you in a couple weeks or a month? Absolutely. But like we know that all the best things in life come from long-term compound interest where we put in the work. And yeah, just where Scott and I are both committed to helping guys get results. That's what this is about. So to I feel blessed to sit here on this call with you right now and just I'm so stoked to hear that things are improving and they will continue to get even better for you as well.
Hopefully.
They will. Yeah. You can believe in yourself, man. You are doing the work and you're experiencing the results. So
Yeah. Yeah. Thanks, Mike.
you're welcome.
Yeah.
Keep going. Yeah, look forward to maybe another one in another couple months when you have now become the president of the United States. No, all right. we'll we'll wrap this one up here today. And yeah, Mason, do you have like any final words? Like, just really, I would just say if you could gear out like maybe a final word to any other like adventurous men who are sitting there watching this today, like what note would you kind of leave with?
In terms of like saying this is worthwhile.
No, maybe even like inspirational or educational or like what kind of insight would you leave people with here today as they wrap up this video?
Um, I mean, I think for me, just like thinking about like some of the advice that like I've like, tried to like reflect back on, um, and like work wise, which is kind of like the source of like a lot of my stress and like
Mm-hmm.
anxiety and all that. I met I met this guy at the trail run up the resort at Jackson.
Mm-hmm.
And this guy was one of those people who like travels around and does runs, like run events as like vacations, which I didn't realize is like a huge group of people. But yeah, that's because I'm just not a runner or haven't been, for long, I guess. Anyways, he told me like I think he could tell I was kind of like lost in terms of like professional, like doing the seasonal shuffle of jobs, just doing random stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I think he could tell that I was, not finding fulfillment. But like I think why it stuck with me is like it's so simple. He's just like, just do whatever you really love, and like you'll be so much more willing to work hard doing what you love than like anything else. I'm like, if you just do that, like, and if you want to be successful, and like if you put in the work, it's like no one, it's not like unsimilar from anyone else who's ever become successful. Like they followed what they wanted to do and they showed up and like they did the hard work and like and now they're successful. But like they followed their passion. Like I feel like listen to any athlete it's like the same thing. Been watching like on Instagram, there's all types of stuff you can watch, obviously, but like the Conor McGregors, like the Cristiano Ronaldos, like they all said like this is my goal and like this is what I love and like
Mhm.
and they manifested so much of what they end up doing. They like told their parents from like a young age like I got this. And yeah, it's like a Dwayne Wade quote that I love. Like my belief in me is like stronger than your doubt. It's just like it's yeah, like people will doubt you briefly, but like your belief in yourself is like all you've really got, and it's like permanent. Like, it's lasting. And yeah, like I love Dwayne Wade. He's retired now, but it's just like, yeah, dude's a badass.
He is a savage.
Yeah, he's an absolute savage.
Yeah. I mean, those types of people are incredible. And
Yeah,
yeah, wow, what a powerful way to end it. Awesome. Mason, this has been a joy of a conversation to have, dude, as a friend. Yeah, thank you for the trust, but more importantly, stoked to just hear the things that are going right for you and that will continue to improve over time. So, nice work and keep it up.
yeah. Thanks, Mike.
All right, we'll wrap this one up here.